Welcome to Carly Tackles, making your own office desk. If you haven't already seen step 1, it's preparing the top, and step 2, pouring the epoxy, you might want to check them out first before watching this one. This video is part 3, lights, frame, and action. The lights that I'll be using for my desk are Govees, 32.8 feet Wi-Fi, that's important. Color changing LED lights. They come in 2 reels and split in the middle, so we gotta try to make that work for our desk here. This works with She Who Must Not Be Named. They have their own app, and it used to work with Home Assistant, but right now it's having some difficulties. I hope they fix it in the future. At this point in time, I have no idea how these lights are gonna lay on my desk, how much length is in each reel, and what that means in where it ends on my desk. So I thought I would practice, do a little practice run here, and to help me I'm using blue paint tape. I'm just kind of lightly taping it down. I need to figure out how to handle the corners. You kind of have to do these loops, as you can see here. You can't just bend it, doesn't quite work as well. And luckily my first reel pretty much made a solid loop, which is great. And so my second reel can like bridge that little gap and then focus on getting to my words. Now, when I first did it, I had quite a bit left in that first light. So then I readjusted and kind of played with it, what would make it easier for me to cut the grooves, that type of thing. I still had some extra left over, but then I thought, you know, that wouldn't be too bad on the edge of the table against the wall. It could reflect the light, so I left it. Once I had it all kind of laid out and ready to go, I traced it with my pencil. This is not the final lines. This is just to mark where it is now, where I might have to loop the loops so I know where to cut out. So here's kind of a closer look of what my plane got me. And honestly, I think it worked really well. You can see where I just ran just shy, but I made that second strip work. Once you're good with how everything looks, now it's time to remove the paint tape. You don't want to peel off the stickers on the light, so you might want to be a little careful there. And now you can remove it from your board, and now we can focus on really drawing the lines. With the help of a framing square, I'm trying to draw them as straight and at the right angles as I possibly can to make it a lot easier for my route. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm just trying to provide guidance for me when I pull out the router. This is the router bit I chose to do. It looked wide enough to fit the lights, and I kind of like that it had a little curve, so it might help hold the lights in versus just being a straight cut bit. You could use either though. I wanted to practice, so I started with my little groove, my first insert groove. You can see I have kind of 2 entrances into this desk. One to kind of feel for the router bit. I'm checking for width and depth here. Did I cut it deep enough that the light strip won't stick out? And is it wide enough for my light strip? And it worked out. I'm using a drywall T-square. You can use edge guides as well. I just wanted something to put the router against to help me out. So I have it clamped at one of the ends. Be careful with your clamps. If your epoxy hasn't cured, your clamps can indent it. So I recommend maybe clamping the desk to the table and not actually having the pressure point on your epoxy. I made the mistake of doing that once. Luckily, it did recover, but I about cried there for a minute. Got my grooves in. You can kind of see I still have to cut out my squares there, but you get a general idea of how this is going to work. The next step is to cut out the corners, or when I do my turns, and so I can loop the lights, but I actually lay them down. And it'll look something like that. So I do that to all of my corners and internal, where I make the corners for the words. Now it's time for the real install. And I'm using duct tape, which isn't the prettiest choice, but if you ever watched the Red Green Show, you know this is the handyman's secret weapon. They may not find you handsome, but at least they'll find you handy. I didn't want to tape the duct tape directly to the light. I was thinking, what if I need to adjust? What if I need to replace? I didn't want to fight that duct tape. So you notice there that I actually took a strip, folded it in half so there was no sticky side, and I put that as a little buffer, and then I put the tape on. That way I could easily remove it or switch out the lights in the future, and that's actually going to come in handy. Once I get this set up, I noticed that on the words, the lights are too close and embedded to the words with how close the wood is, that it was actually better to remove the duct tape and let it hang a little low, and then the whole light would shine through the words. So this actually saved me, and you can check that out. It's not the prettiest, but it is very effective, and I haven't had issues with any duct tape falling. What helps is the stand we put it on does kind of help support the lights in there. Do notice that along the side I got that extra strip of lights there, and that will shine up against the wall. We wanted to give our lights a little test. You can see we're playing with the different modes. This lights does have a microphone, so if you're playing music, you can set it to react to bass and sounds. And so I was practicing talking really loudly and quietly to see how the lights would react to sound. It's pretty fun. If you like these lights or are interested in checking them out, I have the link for them in the video description. Govee also makes other style of lights, not just LED strips for your walls or desks, but they also have some for your TVs that have like a camera on them and can adjust the colors to match the color on your TV. Pretty cool concept, and no, they're not a sponsor, just want to mention it. Now moving on to the frame. This particular frame has the ability to adjust its length up to 68.9 inches. It's just the frame of the standing and sitting component, and you can put on your own top. Autonomous is a brand that I've used before. I have their SmartDesk chair and a few other products. Love them. They are not a sponsor, but they are really good quality. Like even the box they ship it in, pay attention to how much foam and packaging they use to protect it. So here's your unboxing. If you're into unboxing videos, you can watch me unpack it, and we're going to assemble this together. It's actually fairly easy. And because I fast forward you watching me tighten screws with an Allen wrench, it goes fairly quick. Even my dog Macy was really excited and wanted to check it out. If you're searching for a new desk, possibly one that is for standing and sitting, the link for this particular frame is in the description below, but you can find other desks that are already ready to go with the top if you didn't want to make your own. They also have a lot of other fun office products for your home office or your work office. There's two sets of instructions. One's for your basic assembly, which is pretty quick, and one is for the operational controls of the standing sitting desk. The first step is to loosen some of the screws that they had placed to help hold the top base at that smallest. So I'm going to loosen these 8 screws, and then we're going to expand this to the full width possible because my desktop is 80 inches long. Once I pull the beam all the way out, I can reinsert it and tighten the screw. I'm going to do this with one of the support bars, do it with the second, and then I'm going to flip the whole thing around and do it on the other side. I'm not sure if I showed this in the video or not, but the Allen wrench and all the screws, everything you need, comes in the package with the kit. I did not need to get any other tools to assemble this. Next, we're going to install the legs. Now, the frame actually goes over, so you see me lifting up that piece, and I'm going over the leg. And they even have a nice little notch for that power cord. Sorry for the shaking, I accidentally bumped the tripod when I was doing that, my bad. I don't have the best angle here, but there are 2 screw holes in the back side, and you can see that in the manual. I'm tightening those 2 screws, and then I'm going to do it on the front. You can kind of see the holes where that power cord is. There's similar holes on the back side. Now I didn't tighten the back all the way. I wanted to get these 2 screws in, and then I'll go back with the Allen wrench and tighten all 4 screws together. First leg secure. Now it's time to do the same thing with the second. You're going to lift that support piece over the leg and slide it down. And this one also has a cord that has a little notch for it to fit in. And my dog thought it'd be nice to step on it while I was trying to move it. She wanted to go for a ride. Luckily she calmed down and just played the supervisory role after that. Time for your feet. There's 4 holes in that leg and there's 4 holes in that frame. We need to get these screws to line up. It takes you a little while to get your first one in because you kind of gotta shift the feet around till you find it, but once you get the one in, the other 3 go pretty quick. Here's a closer look at the 4 holes you're trying to match up to with those feet. The rest of the install is going to be on the top. We need to flip over the base and set it down on our newly attached feet. There are 2 pieces that go on each end. There's your bracket. It lines up to those 2 screw holes right there. And also included in the step of the instructions is these rubber cushions. So when you look at the diagram, you see the 2 screws, but also you see those rubber caps and where they're placed. I'm going to start with the 2 screws on each end, and then I'll go back and place the rubber caps. Here's a closer look of these rubber cushions. Notice there's a hole in the middle. We will be driving screws through that hole up into our desktop to support it. But the rubber is to help separate the frame from the wood so it's not rubbing right on your tabletop. So each one of those brackets that's in the middle there has rubber cushions, and then the 2 holes on each of the end pieces get rubber cushions too. Now for the fun part, attaching the frame and the top. I set the frame upright and set the table on top of it. Here's one of the rubber cushions that I'm driving the screw in. Now what I didn't capture on film was that I did pre-drill. That's why you see some white flakes, that's epoxy. I do need to be careful with these screws. You don't want them to be too long, that they go through the desk top. And also I was trying to avoid the epoxy a little bit because I didn't want them to shine through the epoxy. So you're going to do that everywhere there's rubber cushions. For the control panel, I also pre-drilled these holes. There's 2 screws. When I lined it up to the desk, now the control panel is angled so that the bottom is angled out a little bit more. So when I lined it up, I aligned the top part of the control flush with the desk. And you'll see a better angle of that shortly. Here's a better shot. You can see that top just might be indented a little bit. It's hard to say with the roundness of the desk, but it works out great. Highly recommend getting the cable tray. It's an add-on accessory, fits on all of their desks. Ended up purchasing it with our other desks too. This time I was smart and bought it in advance. Now it's time to play with the control panel. Press and hold the down button until you see this happen. It's calibrating to the lowest setting. From then on, you just hit the up button for height, down for lower. The memory button, the M1234, is so that you can set custom height settings. Here's another look at this desk. You can see the wall lights reflecting, the ones we put on that little edge there. The lights are shining through the words pretty good at this point. I did end up lowering the light strip a little bit from the duct tape. Dream struggled a little bit because of where the frame, it held it up in there, so I couldn't lower it from the D, and you can tell. You can raise it and lower it. The cable tray is great for power management. You just install the power block right to the desk. Here's a closer look of how all of that looks underneath. Now I still haven't done my cable management yet. You can see I have cables over the floor. I don't have anything on top. I still need to let the desk cure and harden for a total of 30 days before I'll feel comfortable. Our cat Lucy decided to check it out and give it its approval. So here you have it. This is the desk. Now I have one thing left to do to bring this desk to an end, and that is to drill some holes in the back for the electrical. I failed to capture on video. I used a hole saw to cut out the holes, and I also found these electrical covers with caps that fit the holes, and I have 3 of them. What a fun and long project. We took this drawing and made it come to life. After the epoxy was fully hardened, it was time to set up my work desk. If you like this video and others in the series, please give them a thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to get notifications when I release new content. Hey everyone, just wanted to let you know that our new website went live, masalaromade.com. I share the website with my wife, who makes fun products on her lathe, so you can purchase them in her store. Also, when you scroll down, you'll see more things around Carly Tackles. I have a gallery full of projects that haven't been seen on YouTube, as well as a store that I hope to release later this year where you could purchase some plans and products. Also some fun talk around tools. When you take a deeper dive into Carly Tackles, you can see some of my work and inspiration, as well as find out ways to help support my channel. Besides watching videos on YouTube, you can support me by going to patreon.com/Carly Tackles and signing up for a membership. Also, the links in the description below to tools and products are Amazon associate links. I do get a little commission if you use those links to purchase at no extra charge to you. Thank you for your continued support, and I hope you enjoyed the next video.